a string of alphanumeric characters. In the cryptocurrency ecosystem, this sequence functions as a fully operational financial entity capable of holding and transferring millions of dollars. It exists behind a cryptographic shield known as pseudonymity. Every transaction is recorded on a public ledger, yet the true identity of the human operator remains entirely severed from their digital wealth. You can see the money move, but you cannot see who is moving it. This structural anonymity provides a safe harbor for illicit actors. It allows human trafficking networks to extract profits across borders. It enables syndicates like the Lazarus Group to finance state-sponsored hacking. It guarantees that ransomware operators can extort major institutions and vanish with the payment. Organized crime collapses without a reliable way to wash its profits. This financial plumbing serves as the glue for the global underworld, the necessary mechanism for traffickers, drug dealers, and terrorists to pay their operators and reinvest their gains. Today, the traditional financial system processes an enormous amount of illicit wealth. The United Nations estimates that between $800 billion and $2 trillion are laundered globally every single year. This chart tracks the specific volume of illicit cryptocurrency transactions. You can see a staggering upward trajectory. In 2020, illicit crypto volume set at roughly $11 billion. By 2024, that number is projected to hit $51.3 billion. Criminal organizations have adapted their strategies to protect this growing volume. They have largely abandoned highly volatile assets like Bitcoin. Today, nearly 60% of all illicit cryptocurrency transactions rely on stablecoins, digital assets permanently pegged to fiat currencies, like the US dollar, ensuring their illicit profits never lose value during transit. The sheer velocity of these transfers and the agility of the criminal networks executing them prove that current international regulatory frameworks are entirely overwhelmed. This diagram illustrates the traditional mechanics of money laundering. It operates in three cyclical stages: placement, layering, and integration. Placement is the injection of dirty money into the financial system. In the crypto ecosystem, criminals achieve this by routing illicit cash through exchanges with weak identity verification protocols, or by directly feeding bills into physical Bitcoin ATMs that require no bank account at all. Layering is where the digital trail is intentionally obfuscated. Rather than using shell companies, crypto launderers use decentralized mixers. A user deposits illicit funds into a smart contract, where it is pooled with thousands of other deposits, shattered and randomized. When the protocol returns the assets to a new wallet, the link to the original crime is broken. Before it was sanctioned by the US Treasury, the decentralized mixer, Tornado Cash processed over $7.6 billion, including $455 million directly stolen by North Korean hackers. Sophisticated operators supplement this by chain hopping, rapidly exchanging Bitcoin for Ethereum, then Tether, then Solana in a matter of seconds. They utilize nesting services, funneling dirty money through tiny, unverified crypto exchanges that secretly piggyback on the liquidity of massive, legitimate platforms. Finally, integration returns the clean funds to the real economy. Criminals achieve this by wash trading non-fungible tokens, buying digital art from themselves to create the illusion of legitimate profit, or by quietly investing in legitimate tech startups. The crypto laundering cycle mirrors the traditional three stages, but it executes them with an algorithmic complexity and speed that manual law enforcement investigations cannot penetrate. The Bank Secrecy Act and the Patriot Act rely entirely on a concept called intermediary trust. This legal framework assumes that a centralized financial institution, like a bank, will act as a gatekeeper, verifying identities and reporting suspicious behavior. Regulators write and enforce these laws based on a singular assumption: there is always a legally identifiable corporate entity or an executive owner who can be penalized if compliance fails. The cryptocurrency industry was built to eliminate that exact intermediary. It operates on decentralized trust. Cryptographic consensus protocols and open source code replace human mediators and corporate managers. Decentralized exchanges and decentralized autonomous organizations function entirely through automated smart contracts. A developer writes the code, releases it to the blockchain, and steps away. Users trade directly with liquidity pools. There is no central manager to subpoena and no compliance officer to fine. These two architectures are structurally incompatible. You cannot force an autonomous algorithmic network to behave like a centralized bank. We are watching a systemic failure play out in real time because regulators are trying to mandate 20th century intermediary compliance within a purely decentralized ecosystem. To survive under these mismatched laws, centralized crypto firms spend heavily on compliance. In 2023, Binance agreed to a historic $4.3 billion settlement with the US government for anti-money laundering failures, proving the immense financial liability hanging over the industry. Yet this heavy spending yields minimal results. Legacy rule-based tracking systems rely on manually defined thresholds that sophisticated launderers easily evade. These systems generate a false positive alert rate exceeding 95%. Terrified of being fined for missing a violation, financial institutions engage in defensive compliance. They deliberately over-report, flooding federal agencies with millions of suspicious activity reports to legally cover themselves. This funnel illustrates the reality of that data flood. In fiscal year 2023, institutions filed roughly 4.6 million suspicious activity reports. Of those millions, fewer than 13,000 cases, less than 0.3%, resulted in meaningful review by federal law enforcement. The entire anti-money laundering paradigm is an expensive paradox. Institutions waste billions of dollars achieving technical compliance on paper, while 99% of actual criminal finance slips through the cracks. To fix this, lawmakers must stop treating decentralization as a binary condition. A protocol is not simply entirely centralized or entirely decentralized. Jiaying Jiang argues decentralization exists on a three-axis spectrum. Regulators must measure development, governance, and operation. Plotted here, Bitcoin sits near the extreme edge of total decentralization. But many modern DeFi protocols actually congregate near the origin point, retaining concentrated control, making them highly centralized. Until lawmakers map the ecosystem using the spectrum, they will continue deploying the wrong regulatory tools against the wrong digital assets. The intermediary model must be replaced. Professor Jiang proposes a framework for a completely decentralized digital infrastructure to actively combat financial crime. This is a strictly academic blueprint. It remains untested at scale, and building it requires deep, industry-wide technical collaboration. The first pillar of this blueprint is blockchain intelligence. Instead of relying on manual reporting thresholds, authorities would integrate advanced AI models directly with public ledger data to detect behavioral anomalies, mixer interactions, and chain-hopping patterns in real time. The second pillar is a self-sovereign digital identity system utilizing a tiered approach. Small, everyday microtransactions maintain total pseudonymity. However, massive transfers of wealth trigger a cryptographic verification loop between an issuer, the holder, and a verifier, validating the human identity behind the transaction without storing it in a vulnerable central database. By combining AI ledger analysis with cryptographic identity verification, it is mathematically possible to track severe financial crime without sacrificing the privacy values that created the industry. Regulators face a clear mandate: officially abandon the pursuit of centralized oversight in a decentralized world. We must move to a model of collective responsibility. The compliance burden can no longer rest on a single intermediary. It must be distributed algorithmically across developers writing the code, nodes verifying the ledger, and users executing the transactions. We can design the perfect algorithmic defense, but it means nothing if lawmakers refuse to rewrite the rigid statutes that govern them. By embracing the architecture of decentralized trust, we can finally begin to align our regulatory strategies with the technological realities of the 21st century.